thank you so much for joining us this morning. It is an absolute honour and a privilege for the kids, and I'm sure for all the parents too, who will be delighted to see you in the room. I know this is something that you have been passionate about throughout your career, is the academy.
Absolutely. And actually, my whole mantra as a manager when I became manager at 32 years of age was dealing with young players, because when I started, there was a club in Scotland where the basic wages were £5 a week.
£5 a week.
£5 a week. And they were delighted. But I felt that the progress that I had to make, because I didn't have the money to buy players, was to breed them. And that when I went to St Mirren, I did that. And out of that period, with 9 players became internationals, which was fantastic. A small club with St Mirren. Kent Aberdeen was exactly the same. And when they won the European Cup against Real Madrid, 7 players were brought up by the club. They played in the final. So that basic standard I took to United. Because it was easy with Manchester United, Marie, because I wanted to go back to 1950s, where Sir Alex Ferguson produced those fantastic players and teams. That was the motivation for me to carry on, which Sir Alex did. People who go back realise Sir Alex Ferguson made this club. There's absolutely no question of that. I just followed on. And it was a joy to produce the players we did. Young players coming through. I want to say this. The people I want to thank today are the parents for trusting Manchester United to give the young boys an opportunity to Manchester United. So you've done very well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, big round of applause. It takes a lot of dedication as parents to drive your kids around, having dinner in the car, that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's a big thank you to the parents. You talk about your graduates there. Do you know how many graduates you give debuts to? 89. 89.
Why not 90? Now, I mean, we believe that. You believe, but see, managers throughout the country have a really difficult problem in modern day football because it's a result industry. In the industry today where results matter, then you have to have a great belief when you play a young player. And that is without question. But this club does that. Any young player that comes here has got a chance. I used to say to the parents when I signed a young player, I hope we can play, your boy can play in front of 75,000. All the time. That was my motivation for the parents. Get your boy to play in front of 75,000 people. And that has been the way it always was. We had some fantastic young players, became internationals, and it's a joy to see it. And, well, the okay thing, because what I see today is exactly what I expected to see. Young boys sitting here all play from Manchester United in front of 75,000 people. And it's fantastic.
Wear that badge is an incredible honour. We have, as a club, continued to feature a youth player in the squad for over 4,000 consecutive games. That's a homegrown player in every matchday squad for over 87 years. That is completely unparalleled and a part of it. That comes from the players themselves, it comes from the parents, the families, the guardians, but also from the staff, the manager. Just how important were your staff for you in preparing these young boys for these occasions on the pitch?
Well, all starts at the level that we see here today. The youth coaches that we had started away by with development centres originally. What we used to do, these was not far from the cliff, was a floodlight area because at the time equipped to have them. And we used to coach and put the young players there. Now, the scouts we had at that time, the motto was Saturday mornings, Saturday afternoons, Sunday mornings, and they produced. And we had to do the right next thing, is test them to fundamental technical skills. Now, if you look at one player, and this is a challenge to all the young players. Ryan Gase joined the club at 13 years of age. He signed his first full-time contract at 16 and played to his 41 years of age. That is unbelievable. But that's the challenge for you now. You have to look after yourself. You have to sacrifice. You have to practice. You have to have desire to be a winner. Because this club only wants winners.
Go back and watch the old videos and the old games. That's what your staff did, and that they really immersed the boys in the history of the football club. How important is that for the boys, the parents, to know about our history as the academy?
Well, we did videos a way back. I don't know if they still exist. And I think with the history club tells you how many colours from the UK disaster. Within 10 years, they won a European Cup. And I say this to you, and this is the question: how many finals do you think I lost in my career?
You've never asked me a question and still don't know the answer.
Because you're supposed to know this. I lost 9 finals at Aberdeen and Manchester United. 9 finals. And you know what it does? The next morning, I was a better manager. You have to handle defeat the correct way. To be a winner, you have to accept defeat as part of your life, but you can correct that the very next day. So all the young players, handle defeat the right way. Make sure you're a winner the next day. I did that. I won 32 finals.
Not a bad ratio, is it? I bet if you think about those 9, they're a lot more.
Well, actually, I could tell you every detail of all the finals I lost, more than the ones I can win. Because it's part of my life. Losing was part of my life. It's not easy. Because your expectation is not just with me and my family, it's with the players, their families, and the supporters. They expect you to win every win.
So we've got lots of young people in the room, and I'm sure they will be intrigued to know, not that I want you to be biased, however, there must have been a couple of standout academy players in your time. Who would you say was the best? And if you can't choose, maybe give us a top 3.
I think that the important thing is we expect all of the players we come through the academy into the full-time professional to be a success, not one to be put in front of the other. But what the advantage we had, the great youth coach, Eric Harrison, fantastic. And I say that, and I notice this in the videos here, I'm seeing all the activities he engaged in, not just football, but Second World War and the First World War, all these things, a part of growing up, knowing the history of your country, right? What I thought Eric Harrison did for me best of all the players he had turned out as human beings. He was fantastic at that. So when I see it's a few of us in there, exactly what I expect, what Eric Harrison would have expected, good human beings. All of them were very, very, all grew up the right way. Because Eric was tough. It made them sort of think of themselves to be human beings. And they will recognise Eric on that window up on the cliff. And somebody made a mistake. He's banging on the window. I'm surprised never caved it in. But I'm very lucky to have someone like that.
So, Alex, I know we're here on a bit of a time constraint this morning, but I just want to also finally finish with one of the great phrases that you said was that the player you produce is always better than the player you buy. And that is real words for everybody in this room and for the staff and the coaches too.
Well, that's what Manchester United have always been better at. producing young players. And even if we had to buy them, fine. Because if they're young, you're buying them as Ronaldo and Wayne Rooney, young kids who are 17 years of age, they became the best players in the world, you know. So that the reason for that is because of the upbringing we give them in. You know, we're not easy on them. We give them a challenge for what they were as young kids in Sporting Lisbon and Wayne at Everton was the challenge them to be the best. So the format is right.
Thank you for your advice to all the young people in the room, and make sure you do go home and take on the words that Sir Alex has said. Please, a big round of applause for Sir Alex.